Oh, we are live. Man, we are back. I am so excited. We used to do this little thing called brewery, brew and real estate, except for it didn't really have beer. He has beer now, so now it's like true to the name. My name is Brandon Leon, your friend in real estate in the Sacramento, Placer, El Dorado County area. I'm here joined by
Keith Collins with Movement Mortgage. How y'all doing?
Movement Mortgage. They got some. I like that hat. They got some swag here.
Dude, we got swag.
Shirts, they got some hats.
I'm rocking the Masters today. I'm missing it, but
you're missing the Masters for
swag.
This is very important, though. This is very important. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of good stuff. So, as always, I'm just going to give you a quick outline. We're talking about market updates. We're going to start off with. We always have something that we're drinking or enjoying. We just talk briefly about what we're having, maybe even a little story behind it. Then we're going to do a dad joke, which is always fun, and I always win that, which is a good time. We're also going to cover, is the market crashing? Like, is there going to be a market crash? Are we in it? Is it coming? Things to look for when the market does crash. And then lastly, Keith's going to talk about some special loan programs. There's some 100% financing FHA options, which are unbelievable. Jumbo loans, all that good stuff. So we're just going to kind of talk all about that in 30 minutes or less, and can't wait to go through that. So, Keith, did I lose you? Boom.
No, man. You got me, man. I'm in. I just don't know. I don't know if my dad joke's appropriate.
All right, it's just go with it. It's on social media. Everything's appropriate.
No,
all right, let's talk about your drink first.
Oh, I'm drinking the go-to in the Collins household, which is going to be a classy Stella. I absolutely love Stellas.
But how do you say that last word?
Artois.
Oh, good. Yep, you got it right.
Did I get it? Okay.
Yep, you did.
I don't know if anybody's ever asked me that because I just call it a Stella. Can I get a Stella? You order a Stella in a bar or whatever?
So when's the first time you had a Stella?
I don't know, man. I feel like I don't feel like in high school Stella was a drink, right? Or when we did.
Was it Boone's Farm?
What's up?
Boone's Farm, was that the drink of choice?
No, actually, like back in the day, in Northern Cali, it was Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada was super popular when I was younger and coming up, but I don't know what got me into Stella, but I love it. It's awesome. It's my go-to beer for sure.
Appreciate beer. Can't trick it. Doesn't agree with the stomach. All right. I am here with some whiskey for you. This is actually a very special. There are things called independent bottlers, and what they do is they basically will go to like a Macallan or a Glenlivet or whatnot, and they will basically pick the best barrel in the bunch. They'll taste all these barrels, and then they'll take it back and they'll basically age it themselves, bottle it themselves. The reason why I picked this one is because it's pretty cool. Number one, this distillery, Cardo, you can't even find it anywhere. Number two, it's 26 years old, so it's a nice old single malt Scotch. But this is a raw cask, which, check this out. You can see the barrel.
I don't know if that's a good thing, Brandon.
The char, it's good.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
No, it's got real bits of Panther in it.
It's not a good thing when it's in wine.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but the barrel char, this is like as good of a experience as you can get. So I might even have some barrel chars.
You're drinking it in a really weird glass.
Cheers, big ears. Delicious. All right, moving on. So we're moving on to our next portion, which is we're going to get to the real estate stuff here real quick, but we like to have a little bit of fun first, and we go with the dad joke. Keith, you want to go first? You want to start us off? The point of this is he's got to tell me a dad joke, and I got to not laugh. And you have to not laugh because you actually.
Oh, geez, this is bad.
I'll get a point if you laugh. Do it.
Had a girlfriend. She was cross-eyed. We never saw eye to eye.
That was pretty good.
Also quite sure she was seeing somebody on the side.
Dang, secondary.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah. I mean, hey, I think
Did you see?
It was a good joke, but I think the delivery could have been a little bit better.
The delivery was awful. It was so bad.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, you're learning.
Moving on.
All right. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Little old lady.
Little old lady who?
Oh, wow. I didn't know you could yodel. Man, you're a big boy now.
Oh, that's terrible.
You smiled in the middle of the joke.
I laughed.
You laughed in the middle of the joke.
That was so bad, though.
Hey, you're a good yodeler, though.
Okay.
All right, I got one. I got one for you guys.
Bonus.
I'm jumping in here. Bonus one. How much does a chimney cost?
How much does a chimney cost?
Nothing. It's on the house.
On the house.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
That was the worst of all three of them. Sorry.
No, I think he brought that one home. It's a real estate talk. It's brewery.
It's true. All right. On subject.
All right.
Solid.
Moving on.
We're moving on. Love it.
It's awful.
Oh, here. No. Hold on. Oh, bonus. What do you call a yogurt with a lot of granola?
What do you call a yogurt with a lot of granola?
Roughy.
I don't even get it.
Have you ever had a yogurt with tons of granola and it rips the top of your mouth apart?
No, that's terrible.
Oh,
it's not even.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense.
All right, it does make sense.
No,
it does make sense.
All
right, we're moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we headed, Keith, towards a market crash? Are we in a market crash? What are your thoughts?
I don't think so.
Wise.
I don't think so. I mean, like it's that's going to be geographic, right? I mean, there's some areas that are definitely in the country that are struggling based on certain economic things that are happening, but like let's take Sacramento, Northern California. I think there's two things that we need to see, and we need to see for real estate prices to drop, and we see a perceived crash. And I think everybody's definition of crash is relative, right? And we all think of maybe 2009, we see a crash. That's once in a lifetime. I don't see that ever happening again. We're going to see a time sometime in the future when prices do come down. That's just the cyclical nature of economic things. But in terms of what we need to see a crash, one, we need to see speculative buying. We need to see massive speculative buying, where people are buying a home, not even living in it, and purely buying it based on the idea that it's going to go up substantially in value. Now, I know homes have gone up in value a lot over time, but in 2009, 2010, well, actually run up to that. So 7, 8, people would buy a new home community, and by the time that property had closed, it had gone up substantially in value, and they had no intention of ever living in the home. They were going to sell it on the market. So I think we need to see massive speculative buying, and at least from our customers, I'm not seeing that. The customers that we're talking to, they want to live in the home. They want to live in the home. They want to live in the home a long time. They want for a long time. They want to be in the property. They want to be in the neighborhood. They want to be in the area. They want to be in the community. And so I'm not necessarily seeing that, but we need to see massive speculative buying. And then the other thing is just inventory. That's just price and demand. We need to see much more inventory. We have an inventory crisis, and the only way that we're going to see more inventory is two things: less demand, which I don't necessarily see because we have a ton of people here, or more homes. And the challenge from a more home standpoint in Northern California is it takes a while to build a home. If you're a builder that wants to go build a whole community, you acquire dirt in your years before you go vertical. So changing inventory is not something that we can just flip a switch on and change. And so with the labor shortages that we have, with the access to materials that we have, if you've been remodeling a home or buying a home or building a home, how hard it is to get materials. We're looking at buying an oven right now for our house, and the oven that we want to buy is not available until February. It's crazy right now. And so we need to see a lot more inventory, and that's not something that's going to be changed overnight. So I think for a market crash, could it happen? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. But for us to start seeing that, we need to see speculative buying, and we need to see a correction in the inventory that we have. In a lot of areas, we have less than 2 weeks of inventory, and that's nowhere near a correction from an inventory standpoint.
Yeah, good points. I actually from the best appraiser in the area, Ryan Lundquist. He has some really good information. I'm going to go jump on that Peloton here in a minute to work out with you. But can you put up that graph, Derek? I thought when we're looking at what needs to happen in order to see a market crash, I look at that and I'm like, hold on, let me see if I can get this up. There we go. All right. So when you look at what needs to happen, these are some, and Keith covered a little bit of it, but when you look at it, here are signs of a softening market. So a softening market is, of course, leading to what we would call a market crash. Now, a market crash is a great subject line, and it's a showstopper. Everyone sees it, and they're like, oh, all the fear around that. But we first see the signs by a softening market. So increase in the housing inventory, we're not seeing that. I'm going to go over some numbers here in a little bit. If we saw an increase on the days on market, so the houses are on the market longer, we're really not seeing that as much geographically as a whole as an area. Having less offers, we are seeing that, but in a lot of cases, there's still multiple offers. Last month, I think 28% of all homes had multiple offers. Less traffic for listings. It's hard to gather that data, but according to places like Showing Time, the showings are down on houses as a whole. I think it's like 38% of less showings. Now, this is only through Showing Time, right? So they only see a portion, but a lot of people are scheduling through Showing Time. I'm not seeing a lot of credits offered to buyers, but if you saw sellers offering credits to buyers, that's an example, because we haven't been in a market like that. We've been so competitive that the buyers have been giving the sellers everything they can possibly think of. A declining sales to list price ratio. And you would think that we'd be seeing that a whole bunch, but we're not seeing it as much as even I thought when I looked up the stats. Because here's the problem. People see something, they hear about their neighbor, or they see something on the news or whatnot, and they think it's specific to the whole market instead of just their specific neighborhood or what's going on in their neighborhood or their friend. And so I see it all the time where people are like, well, the market's doing this. And it's like, well, no, that one house was doing that. That one piece of the market was doing that. And there are different price ranges of houses. There are different things. So the price reductions do play a big role. And so that's kind of what I want to cover today, just looking at the price reductions. And I'm just going to kind of breeze through this. So there are really 5 things you need to know just about price reductions as a whole. And these 5 things are 5 factors that you just want to think about. Whether you are a buyer that will one day be a seller, or you're thinking about selling your home, or maybe your home's on the market right now. When we look at these 5 things that you need to know, this is what you want to consider. So if you can put up that graph, Derek. So 5 things you need to know. The first thing would be price reductions. Okay. Now, price reductions are normal for this time of the year. So when you look at price reductions as a whole, they're happening, but a lot of times price reductions happen because sellers are overpricing their home. This specific graph gives you an example of the price reductions that we're seeing just from the past week in the Sacramento, Placer, Yolo, El Dorado counties, surrounding areas here. And as you can see, most of the price reductions are going to be from the 500 to 600,000 range. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't price reductions everywhere, but if people listed the house where they should have listed at the beginning, these price reductions would happen. But there are a lot of different reasons why this is happening. Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, but like when you look at that number, I just want to make sure we're looking at this graph right and I'm reading it right too, is that like on the left-hand side, it's number of listings. So that's 10 listings, 20 listings, 30 listings, 40 listings, 50 listings. So when you look at the $500,000 to $600,000 price range for the entire Sacramento region. So
yeah, it's not very many.
Placer, Yolo, El Dorado, like maybe 50 homes had price reductions.
Right. And I think
that's the one thing that people need to look at when we look at these stats. So the media will sell things. The media sells news. The media sells negative news. I heard this article, and they said inventory is up 62%. That's scary. You're like, whoa, inventory is up 62% in the greater Sacramento market. Well, inventory up 62%. It was a 2-week inventory, so it was like 0.6 days of 0.6 months of inventory available, and it moved to like 0.8 So it was still less than a month of inventory. Yeah, that was a 62% increase in inventory, but you have to really dive into that. So when you say, hey, these properties are seeing price reductions, it's 50 out of the entire market. So I started to jump in there, but I just want to make sure that, like, a lot of times we hear these things and we got to dive a little bit further into the details, because you hear something that sounds crazy, like a 62% increase in inventory. But that really, when you actually look at those numbers, that's actually, like, we need that.
Yep.
So
and yeah, they're going to the numbers. They're going to get the headline, right?
Right.
And that's a great point. And just keep in mind, like, any house can be overpriced, but there's only 55, 60. But anybody can overprice their house. So there are a lot of sellers that are living from 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 months ago or so, where the market was more competitive. There were more multiple offers. There was a lot more going on there, where they were just expecting, I'm going to list it at a higher price and get more than I'm listing it for. And so anything can be overpriced. So
that's
just
fair.
keep that in mind.
That's a really good point, because they could have done a $5,000 price reduction on a home that is $30,000 over what the market says that home's worth. And they're just saying, well, hey, if I get this price, I'll sell my home, and they put it on the market, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll reduce it $5,000. That doesn't mean that. That really doesn't mean anything when you look at only 50 homes in the $600,000 to $500,000 to $600,000 price range. Better price reduction.
Right. I had a colleague of mine that had a listing at 1.2 million, and they just reduced it to 1.1 million. $100,000 reduction. It's like those things are just going to happen. So another thing I wanted to cover just on these price reductions, like, a lot of times people talk about the market being way overpriced. And I have this conversation a lot, like, I'm not going to buy, I'm going to wait to buy. And it's like, technically, we're not overpriced. We have such a high demand, obviously, but we're in such an aggressive market. Even though we're not as aggressive as 6 months ago, we're in such an aggressive market right now. And sales are still higher than normal. Like, for this time of year, they're still slightly higher than normal. They're still on that trajectory. Now, they may be leveling off, and that's why people are like, oh, no, what's going on? But as far as the overpriced of the market, I mean, a price is worth however much you're willing to pay for it. And I think when buyers are fighting over houses and willing to pay more money, they're willing to pay more. And that's one of the key factors that raise prices. So that's one of the things. Do you have anything to add to that, Keith?
I heard this the other day, and I thought it was a really good thing, just to kind of say, like, the market is slowing, but the market is not slow. Right. And I think the market is trying to move into what we would traditionally consider a normal real estate market that slows down in the winter. We really haven't seen that in the last few years, just because of, we had COVID. That was a kind of a weird thing. We had a massive rebound. We had super low interest rates. So we've had a lot of these different factors that are affecting real estate prices. We haven't seen a traditional real estate market for a while. And in a traditional real estate market, this time of the year, the market slows down. We have less activity and less sales. And we haven't seen that. We have short-term memories as consumers at times. But historically, these things happen every year. So I think the market is slowing, but it's not slow. Yep,
you're right. It is not slow. Hey, just checking the feed here. If you're here, give us a like or a thumbs up. Let us know you're here. If you have any real estate related questions about what's going on in the market right now, we'd love to answer them. We'll kind of save those to the end. So feel free to let us know. Give us a little heart. Little heart. I don't know. I just said
it's okay.
So
it's all right.
So I covered this a little bit earlier, but I want to bring this point home, because just be careful of judging what's going on in the market. Just because, when I say judging, just because your neighbor sold their house for $40,000 over the list price, that doesn't mean that's what the market's doing as a whole. You have pools, huge backyards, kitchens, bathrooms, things that people are really willing to pay more money for. And so the houses that have those huge yards, that have those pools, that are in those areas, they're gonna typically sell for more than what it's listed for, because people are willing to pay that. So
their parents could have lived across the street. Like, you never know, right? The parents could have lived across the street, and they're willing to pay more for that because they're going to be across the street from their parents. Like, the market will tell you what your home's worth. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Yep, it will. And so I think that's a great point. And bringing me to my last point, just to wrap up these price reductions, like a fair market price is more important than ever. And you're right. Someone will pay. A house is worth however much someone's willing to pay for it, but a fair market price is the most important piece. Ryan Lundquist said it best. You put that quote on there, Derek. I'll just go ahead and read it. He said, when you reduce, and this is like one of the best appraisers in all the Sacramento area. He says, when you reduce the list price, it is because you were priced too high. The new price is not a discount. It's just now you are closer to where you should have been. My advice, don't get stuck on the original list price. Like, I have this conversation with sellers all the time, and it's like, well, we want to list at this price. We think we can get this. And I always say, hey, we want to make sure we have the most amount of buyers coming through your house. And we want to be at a price that's going to make it most competitive and give us the best chance of getting into a competitive situation. And so if we price it too high, we're going to do what's called chasing the market, right? You're going to be on the market for a while, then you're going to reduce the price. Then people are going to think there's something wrong with the property. Then you're reducing the price again. And then you fall into this chasing the market train downward, and you end up selling the house for less than you would have sold it if you would have priced it right in the first place. So I really think in this market, depending on your house, of course, I don't know enough about your situation, but overall, getting the price right at the beginning is very, very, very important, because there are houses that I'm seeing, and not my listings, but there are houses that are sitting on the market for 25, 30, 35 days, which is not normal. And the house is totally normal. There's no apparent issues or anything. But I think there are a lot of people that are in different spaces right now with school and the fall and holidays. And so the market is slowing down, but it doesn't mean it's not a great time to buy. It doesn't mean there isn't value out there. But if you are listing a house right now, get the listing price right first, right away. Make sense?
No, I love that, man. I think you can have a great home that can go stale because it was overpriced, and then people are sitting there thinking, well, what's wrong with this home? It's been sitting there for 60 days. But if it would have come to market at the right price, it would have sold a lot faster. But because it's been sitting, and that all the search engines show that days on market, and people look at that and they think one of two things: the property, there's something wrong with it, or I can get a deal. So when you look at a home that's been sitting there 60, 90 days, that's exactly what the consumer thinks. Something's wrong, or I can get a deal. And it could be perfect. You just priced it wrong out of the gate.
Right.
Hey, so I got a good question, and I know we're running out of time here, but what would you suggest to a seller that did that? Do we pull the house off the market, wait, and then relist? So what do you do? What would your advice to be to a seller who did that, who listed a property over, it's now become stale? What do we do to re-engage with the market?
Well, I think it depends on what the marketing strategy of the listing agent was. There are three things that matter, right? Price, condition, location. So those are the three things when you're listing a house that you really look at. So you can compete in the price, or maybe there's a maroon wall in the house that you can brighten up. Maybe there's carpet that you could change out. Maybe there's some improvements that you can make to give it more curb appeal. Again, it's very specific, but if your agent is there specifically making sure that you have all the marketing correct in the first place, and you have the house price right, you're in good shape. But if you're not, hold on, did we lose me? Okay.
No, I got you.
All right. If you are that overpriced and you're thinking, okay, what should I do? I would look at improving the house first. If there's any small improvements you could do quickly, or reducing at a price that's fair. We're not talking about a $5,000 reduction. You want to reduce the price that's going to get the house sold. But this all depends on you as a seller, on what your goals are. And that's something that we do as a team, is we sit down and talk about what your goals are. And I would say, in a perfect world, when would you like to have your money and be moved on to your next, whatever that is, or your fresh start, or maybe they're moving out of the area or whatnot. And so if they want to move in 30 days, right, from us listing it, I mean, boom, we got to reduce the price right away. We got to do some specific pinpoint marketing, some videos, and really hit that hard. But if they have more time, then we might want to look at maybe a combination of price and condition, seeing what we can possibly do. There are lots of options out there, but that's probably the route I would take. Good question.
Love it.
As far as us just kind of wrapping up, you want to talk, Keith, just about a few loan programs that you're excited about right now?
Yeah, so there's we've got a lot of people that are being impacted in Northern California from the fires. FEMA has come through and designated some areas as FEMA disaster areas, which they need to do so federal relief can come in. And there's a program out there through FHA. FHA, a lot of people think it's first-time homebuyer. It's not. It's Federal Housing Administration. But FHA has a program for renters, so you didn't have to own a home. So for someone who is renting a home or someone who owned a home and has been displaced from that home due to that natural disaster. So if you're renting a home or you owned a home in a FEMA disaster area and you've been displaced from that home because of it, you can actually do an FHA home loan, 100% financing. So I think that's something that'll be really unique. It's very niche to specific people, but we are seeing a lot of people that have been impacted from the fires in Northern California. We did last year. Every year we see these fires, unfortunately, and we always do a couple of these loans where somebody needs this assistance. Interest rates are not higher. The terms are not worse. It is everything that you've ever thought of from an FHA loan, except you're not required to have a down payment. It's 100% financing. So I think it's an awesome thing to think about right now. If you know anybody that's been displaced, specifically somebody who's renting and they may want to buy, we have a program that doesn't require down payment assistance. It's 100% financing.
That's a great option. Anybody that you know that needs that, just feel free to reach out to either myself or Keith. We'll get you the information you need. What about jumbo loans?
Yeah, jumbo loans are unique, and I think jumbo loans, much like VA, is one of those loans that kind of have a negative kind of connotation to them, and it's just based on old standards. And a lot of new things have occurred from a jumbo loan standpoint. The interest rates are actually better than on most loan programs. And some lenders have come out with some pretty cool programs that don't have all the hoops that jumbo buyers used to have to go through. So we have some access to some pretty cool jumbo programs. And I can do a $1.5 million loan with 10% down, and there's a lot of reduced documentation. We're not talking stated income and the stuff that we used to have. We're still documenting income, but we don't have all the hoops that sometimes you have to run through. There's some programs where a self-employed person, you only need to be self-employed for a year as opposed to 2 years. That's not something that's been around before. So I'm really excited about some of the new jumbo products we have. Sometimes a lender will push you away from a jumbo home loan, and they'll tell you one of three things. They'll tell you it's a higher interest rate, which is not the case anymore. They'll tell you they're very cumbersome and there's a lot of documentation. It'll be troublesome for you and we're going to have to put you through the ringer. Potentially not the case anymore. And they take forever. We can close our new jumbo program in about 15 days. So if you're in that jumbo market, which we're starting to see as home prices have gone up, we're just seeing more jumbo home loans, and someone's trying to push you away from it because of some negativity, there's some cool programs out there that you might want to look at.
Love it. Thank you. Yeah, that's all good information. I'm glad there are some new programs rolling out or jumbo loans have gotten better, got the 100% FHA. Thank you so much. Lastly, what I want to do is I want to talk about the listing of the week. We have a property coming up. I got just one picture for you. I can't give you all of them. It's coming on the market tomorrow. This is in South Land Park, so highly sought out area in Sacramento. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, beautiful pool. I want to set up a volleyball net there and play right now. Also has some grass on the left side there. It actually has an outdoor bar. It's a stellar area, stellar home. It's going to be coming on the market tomorrow. If you have any questions about that or interested in purchasing, or someone that may be looking in that area, have them reach out to me. My name is Brandon Leon with Better Homes and Gardens, your friend in real estate, and we're signing off with.
I'm Keith Collins, Moving Mortgage. You stay classy, Sacramento.
I knew you were going to do that. Let's stay classy. All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you on the next one. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Take care.